Well everyone, it's that time of year yet again. Time to review the new Kirby Manga Mania. Where is that little rascal? Oh, there he is! Here boy, up here! That's a good Kirby Manga Mania. Well, it's time to review Kirby Manga Mania, Volume 8. Well then, here we are with the 8th volume of Kirby Manga Mania, written and drawn by Hirokazu Hikawa. It's amazing to think this manga used to be exclusively published in Japanese. It's actually only been 4 years since the Manga Mania series was translated into English officially. It has brought many delightful and perhaps not so delightful images and stories to us, and for that I am thankful. Without further ado, let's discuss the 8th volume in the Kirby Manga Mania series. Hell yeah. Chapter 1. The Result of Goodwill and Greed. Kirby finds a $1 coin. My god. Instead of spending his new treasure, he decides to return it to the police, in the hope that it may be reunited with its original owner, resulting in Kirby being hailed across the land as a great hero. This proves to be a difficult task, and Kirby faces many a hardship on his journey. After Kirby finally gives the coin up to the police, he falls into a deep slumber. The next day, he discovers that he does appear in the newspaper, but as a nuisance for sleeping in the station all day, and not as a great hero. Wow. Chapter 2. My Year of Training with Master. Our protagonist is unable to split chopsticks down the middle. As such, Kirby enters a rigorous training regiment orchestrated by Meta Knight. Good to see Meta Knight show up in a chapter. His appearances are surprisingly infrequent. After a full year of training, Kirby puts his new skill to the test, only to discover that instead of splitting chopsticks, he has inadvertently become a master of bending chopsticks. I really did not see that one coming, folks. Chapter 3. I'm gonna be a superhero. Trips to the grocery store have become a painful experience for our boy Kirby. He finds the temptations of tasty treats too strong and ends up buying more than he needs. This has become an expensive habit, made worse by the rampant inflation in Dreamland's economy. In this chapter's grocery store experience, Kirby makes it almost to the checkout line, only to fall victim to a shelf near the register. A great tragedy, to be sure. Chapter 4. The Fateful Choice. The decision between strawberry or melon shaved ice is proving too difficult for Kirboid. He cannot make up his damn mind, and thus the conflict arises. In the end, Kirby cannot figure it out, and a year passes. This time, there are 3 flavors, but Kirby doesn't have time to ponder long, as he is sent into the stratosphere by King Dedede's hammer. Chapter 5. A King's Dreams. King Dedede is having bad dreams about that rotten bastard Kirby. He keeps showing up and causing a ruckus. There is a fun Inception-esque twist at the end of the chapter where the king thinks that he is awake, but he is actually still in a dream. Very esoteric and cool. Chapter 6. Wish Upon a Star. King Dedede's Disaster. King Dedede and Kirby are trying to wish upon a star, but as usual, Kirby is getting in the way. Kirby decides to quote-unquote help by commandeering an asteroid and riding it down to Earth, where it crashes into poor Dedede. What a sorrowful little fellow. Chapter 7. Is this happiness? Our good pal Kirby has won a free ice cream. This is in the form of a popsicle stick with the words, "You win" on it. Kirby and friends rejoice for a very long time as a result of this event. Kirby finally decides to cash in his stick, only to discover that it has in fact expired. Well, isn't that a sad thing? Chapter 8. Which Rick is real? Rick has been replaced by Grizzo the Bear, a classic enemy from the original Dreamland on Game Boy. Grizzo is going around harassing the Dreamlanders, including the animal friends, who of course all blame Rick. This has of course been orchestrated by the ever-conniving King Dedede. Rick discovers this and seeks to prove that he is in fact the real Rick. Kirby is a bit of a fool and so cannot tell the difference. To make sure this misunderstanding never happens again, Kirby zaps "I'm Rick" onto Rick, who doesn't really like that. Chapter 9. King Dedede's Stress Release Struggle. King Dedede is suffering from clinical depression. Kirby tries to solve this issue, but nothing seems to be working. This is, of course, because Kirby himself is the source of this depression, as is discovered at the end of the chapter. Chapter 10. Choo Choo's Husband Hunt. Choo Choo decides to look for a husband in Dreamland, but soon discovers that all her prospective options are not suited for marriage. In the end, she decides Kirby may be the best option, but quickly regrets this when it is made clear that he is a gluttonous freak. Chapter 11. Crashing the Girls' Day Party. I guess Girls' Day is some sort of holiday in Japan, and in the Kirby world, that means all of the girl characters have a party. King Dedede and Kirby are feeling excluded, and so make many attempts to break in. This includes a valiant attempt from King Dedede to end sexism, but this plan fails, sadly. Eventually, Choo Choo, Ribbon, and Adeline feel bad and let the two into the party, only for them to discover that the only thing left to do is the dishes. Chapter 12. Kirby in the Underworld. The chapter begins with Kirby being brutally clubbed to death by King Dedede. He ends up in heaven, but is kicked out after eating all of their food. He is sent to Hell and encounters the King of Hell, who bears a striking resemblance to the character Nightmare. Kirby beats up the King of Hell and decides to make the Underworld into a nicer place to be. Meanwhile, King Dedede decides to commit to get himself to the afterlife and rescue Kirby. There he discovers that Kirby's attempts to give Hell a more chill vibe have not worked out perfectly. Eventually, they escape using a magic string that brings them back to the surface. However, as it turns out, their spirits have inhabited the wrong bodies. Oh darn. Definitely a standout chapter here. Did not expect to get a Kirby Goes to Hell plotline. Very interesting. Chapter 13. King Dedede's Road to Approval Ratings. The king is a profoundly unpopular figure with an approval rating of just 3%. He hires a new secretary to help salvage his public image. These attempts fail at first, leaving Dedede with a 1% approval. Eventually, he is able to revive his popularity, only to ruin it all with a terrible joke that no one likes. Chapter 14. Pranking the Perfect Hero. This is another Meta Knight chapter. In it, Kirby pranks him to discover what he's really afraid of. Nothing works, and eventually Kirby gives up. However, in private afterwards, Meta Knight reveals that he was terrified by the pranks and was only barely able to contain his fear in order to maintain his image as a cool dude. In this frame of Meta Knight staring into the distance with his mask off, that goes pretty hard. And thus, Manga Mania Volume 8 ends. We also get a few Q&A segments with the author included, which do offer some interesting insights. It's always a good time to go over the wackiness of Kirby Manga Mania. It's become a quite enjoyable yearly tradition here on the channel. Thank you for tuning into this video. I do hope it provided some amount of entertainment value. That was the goal. Well, thank you for joining me on today's Kirby Manga Mania review. Would you look at the time? We've got to get you walked.